Do you have any thoughts about reducing sexual assaults on college campuses?
I went to Michigan State and there were a lot of rapes then. And here it is, I graduated from Michigan State in 1979. And we're still having a lot of rapes in Michigan State. I think it's a campus problem because there's prey there. I've never understood why there's not security. At the mall, there's security. Why isn't there more security on the campuses? I know that we have security guys, just driving in their vehicles, but why aren't they where the students are? Why isn't there a program where you can call someone to take you back to your dorm or your apartment? Why aren't we protected? Why isn't there a record of the assaults and then the students separated or taken out of class until it's resolved? And some campuses do that, but others don't, so that students are going back to the same class with their predator. The rules have to be stricter. There needs to be training. There needs to be more people watching out for students. And we need some security clearances, quite honestly, with the professors. I'm in the military. I've had security clearances. People we hire in the court have security clearances. Why don't we have the professors and everybody else that's on campus have a security clearance? Why are we allowing just anybody to roam a campus? We shouldn't. Those are cities where our children go and they are prey. Why are they open campuses like that? It's not that we're asking that nobody can be allowed, because there's a lot of functions that go on, but why can't we have some accountability of who enters? Why are you there? Where are you going? And we don't do that. So we have predators go there and we have kids missing from every campus around the country.
If I can chime in,
Sure.
actually just a comment from me. The rape of a student is what inspired the creation of this class, and the university's response and investigation is what inspired this class in part. So we have a question. How do you best get a jury to understand the trauma response? When doing a deposition, it became apparent the importance of understanding, because people have a preconceived idea of what a trauma victim looks like. If they came in and were wailing or crying or not have distinct physical injuries, then it must not have happened.
Right. So SANE nurses do an awesome job testifying, and it really is on a case by case basis. But there's all sorts of experts, trauma experts, who could be called in. And so if you are a victim or a victim, you're working in the arena, testify. Do you know how many therapists will not go into court to testify?
Yeah.
Lots. So we need to hear from the experts. This is a natural response. And then the attorney should be calling those experts. And of course, there'll be experts on both sides. But first of all, it's really difficult to get doctors to want to come to testify. It's really difficult to get therapists to want to come to testify. But it's really important that we have those trained experts, qualified, and that they inform the jury. And I think that the state bar, the law schools and the medical schools should partner together to have cross training, because lawyers need to know about trauma, about how to ask questions of their clients, about how to do even a cross-examination without having the victim flip out on them, and they do that because, they're trying to get at the truth. Cross-examination is the greatest truth teller, but what they're doing is re-traumatizing the victim, and they can very well lose their case, which, you all can say, well, that's a good thing. But maybe it's not a good thing. They can lose their case because now we have the jury feeling sorry for the person that's being cross-examined, which is completely appealable. And we don't want the re-traumatization. In a bad case, there could have to be a new trial. Imagine that 3 or 4 or 5 years later, having to relive that. So we all want to get it right. Why don't we have cross training between the medical schools and the legal schools? Why? That's an easy thing to do.
One thing to note about the therapists is I went to many therapists because I was involved in the legal system. A lot of them would not see me. It was really hard to find a therapist. On the other side, being a therapist, I totally understand that, because they don't want to be cross-examined. And I had a therapist tell me that it gives her great anxiety, and she was concerned about ruining the case or, like doing harm to their client, So I get that on both sides. But yeah, it's challenging to have all these professionals working together and being able to provide victims with the necessary services and stuff. And a lot of times when victims are talking and stuff, they are talking in fragmented sentences or not sharing their story in chronological order and that kind of stuff. So it makes people skeptical a lot of times if their story is true, So yeah, having witness testimony is great for that.
Well, and I want to say something about trauma too, just overall. everybody should be trained to never tell a trauma survivor that they need to learn a lesson from the abuse, or from, walking out at night, or in that short skirt, or what have you. Or, well, just be glad it wasn't worse. I mean, all you're doing is re-traumatizing the victim, and it's going to shut them up and shut them down. And it's horrifying to them. There are so many missteps in the arena of trauma, especially sexual assault. But, trauma comes in all sorts of forms.